Today, we're honored to welcome Rita Choula, Senior Director of Caregiving at the AARP Public Policy Institute. Rita is one of the authors of the recently released Caregiving in the U.S. 2025 report, a sweeping look at the state of family caregiving in America. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here, Andy. Thanks for having me.
I'd like to start by asking if you can give us a bit of background on the report and its history.
So, AARP and the National Alliance for Caregiving has been partnering since 1997, so almost 28 years now, to bring caregiving in the U.S. to light. It's a research study that is done every 5 years. The 2025 release had almost 7,000 family caregivers that we were able to speak to and survey about their various lived experience, honestly, with their role as family caregivers.
What do you consider the most um, significant findings and takeaways from the report?
There are a lot of findings. I would say a couple that I really like to highlight is the sheer growth in the number of family caregivers. So between 2015 and today's release of 2025, we now know that there are 63 million family caregivers. This is a 45% increase in the number of family caregivers. That is a huge number when you think about the individuals that are providing this care. We also know that family caregivers are doing higher intensity care, so they're doing more complex tasks in addition to things such as providing transportation, taking individuals to appointments, but they're doing more complex things as well. And they're doing it for longer periods of time. And so we see that that intensity of care is growing, and we also see that individuals are not caring for somebody for, say, 6 months or a shorter acute time, but they're caring for individuals up to 5 years and clearly more.
I'd like to jump onto that. The first point that you rose about the 45% increase in family caregivers since 2020, since 2015. What do you think's driving that growth?
One is the sheer fact that the population is aging. Another piece that we are talking about around this is the sheer awareness
Mhm.
of individuals actually seeing themselves as family caregivers. Another issue is really we see that people are living longer,
Mhm.
and with that, they're getting sicker, and they're living with illnesses that decades ago they might not have lived that long for. And so now we see individuals that are still in the home with very serious illnesses that need individuals to provide that care. And that care typically falls to a family caregiver.
One of the points in the report talked about the impact of the caregivers, both financially and physically, for the work they do.
We know that 60% of family caregivers are working. And actually, when you look at those in the working ages between 18 and 64, we know that 70% of individuals within that age range are working. So imagine being that family member who is working a full time, 40-hour-a-week job, and you're having to provide transportation. You're having to give and manage heavy medication regimens. You're having to do this while you're working means that there could be potentially impacts into your work life. And so, what does that look like? It means you may have to take off of work more often. It may mean that you're not able to move up the so called ladder in your career because you're having to be very focused in how you provide that care. We also know that there's a significant amount of stress that family caregivers feel, especially working family caregivers. As you might imagine, having to balance so many different efforts at the same time, and that's not to mention the significant number of sandwich generation caregivers, 39%, who are trying to care for a child, a younger child, and care for an older adult, and more often than that, work in a full-time or part-time environment.
What are the specific areas of support that the AARP Policy Institute is advocating now? for caregivers?
Yes, there are a number of things that AARP as a whole are advocating. One is a tax credit, a federal tax credit that goes to supporting family caregivers that are paying out of pocket for the many things that are required in the caregiving role. We also support state tax credits as well. Another piece, and this is exciting for us, it's an exciting movement on the policy landscape, is the recognition by CMS, so Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services. One of the elements within CMS is paying providers to
Hmm.
healthcare providers to be able to train family caregivers.